In most of the cases, a card or a list doesn't display all the available fields of the underlying source table. Now, with the About This page, About This report function, you can display all the fields for a specific record of the underlying source table. And let me show you this by making an example using a customer. Now, first of all, important to notice, the About This page, About This report function can only be used in the Windows client. And that's why I've opened the Windows client. I'm using the Business Manager Role Center. And let me use customers as an example. So here in my customer list, you can see a number of fields. And we saw in the previous module that we can use the Choose Columns function to display additional fields. So there are quite a lot of additional fields that I can display by simply selecting one and clicking on Add, and now the currency code will also be displayed. But although this is quite a list, this is still not each field that we have in the underlying source table, the customer table. So the customer table contains many more fields than the one you see here. So this means that there are a number of fields that as a user I cannot display by using the Choose Columns function. Now, in order to look at the values of these fields, so the ones that we cannot display, you can use the About This page function. So let me show you. So in this case, I've selected customer 10,000. Now I can go to the application menu and by clicking on Help, I can open About This page. So there we go. And first of all, you can see here the page ID that we're looking at. So the customer list is page ID 22. You can see the source table, so the underlying source table at number 18 in this case. And now by expanding table fields, you can see all the fields of the underlying source table for this specific record. So the ones that are displayed, the ones that you can still display by using the Choose Columns function, but also the one that you cannot display. And as you can see here by scrolling down, there are much more fields than the one that we can display, you see. And now I can consult the values. I can look at the values so that we don't have to go to the development environment and add these fields, for example. So that is the advantage. Now, a couple of remarks. First of all, this is only for consulting purposes. You cannot edit information. So I cannot change, for example, the responsibility center from one to the other. That's not possible. That's something you can only do in the customer record itself. So this is only for viewing, for looking at information, but not for editing information. And then second of all, you can see that this is sorted alphabetically based on the name of the field. So this will help you searching for a specific field, especially in large tables such as the customer table or the item table. Then the last thing that is important when you want to use this function. So what I just did, I went to the application menu, Help, and then About This page. But you can see there's also a shortcut available, which is Ctrl-Alt-F1. Now in sub-pages of documents, you have to use the control function. So let me show you. If I go to an existing sales order, so let me open one, this one for example. We have two different tables here. So there's the header and we have the lines. Now it could be possible that you want to use the About This page function on the header, and then you can simply go here to the application menu like I just did and run the About This page. But as you can see here, if you use the application menu, sales order and sales header is a source table. But suppose I would like to use the function for the sales line table. So I would like to use the About This page function for this specific sales line. Now there it's very important to know that you will have to use the shortcut. Because if I now go to the the application menu, Help, About This page, you will see that the system is still using the sales header and the sales order as the source table and the page. But instead, it will have to use the sales line, and that's something I can do by using the shortcut. So by positioning on the line, and then clicking on Ctrl-Alt-F1, you can see now that the sales order subform is displayed based on the source table sales line. And now by expanding the fields, you can see that now everything, so each field for my sales line is now displayed here. You see, so important to remember, you can use the application menu, but if you want to use the function for subforms, like for example sales lines or purchase lines, you have to use a shortcut Ctrl-Alt-F1.